I want you to try and think back to a time in your life when you were learning to tie your shoes and how frustrating it was and how often you tried. And in my case, I had knots all the time in my shoes. But I kept going. I kept going and going, and that's why I wear loafers now. I mean, that's why I can tie my shoes now. Like a lot of tasks, doors 11, excuse me, will require some stick-to-itiveness. Now, doors 11 is open source. And what that means is there's like a skeleton there, and you're going to put the meat on the bones. And you can put as much meat on your bones of your project as you need to. But it's all up to you. It's up to you using it. You can take it as far as you want. Now, I want to clear something up. Doors 11 has everything in it that doors 10 did, but some more stuff. But it's laid out different, so you're going to have to learn to tie your shoes all over again. So you might experience some frustration when learning, but hopefully I will be some inspiration for you. First thing I want to talk about is deciding and decisions. You're exactly where you are in life because of all the decisions you've made, good or bad. Even deciding not to decide, you've made a decision. Something has happened to you. Decisions design your life. You need to decide how to use the program to its full potential. You need to decide to make it new from here, not carrying anything over if you're an old timer like me from there. You need to make it new from doors 11. You need to decide to be here now. By that I mean current. Now, back when we had doors 10, I was a door transition master. But we're not in doors 10 anymore. We're in doors 11, so I don't use that anymore. That's not concurrent. That may sound harsh, but it's relevant. When I was an EMT, that was great. It was hard work learning how to do it. But then I became a nurse, so I no longer had the designation of an EMT. When I became an open water scuba instructor, that was a lot of work. And then I became a master instructor. And I was an instructor for 25 years, but they don't do it anymore, so it's not relevant. So I'm trying to be relevant and to the point, and that's why I'm trying to get in the now on doors 11. I've left everything behind me, and I'm using what's there. I'm using the tools in front of me. And there's plenty of them if you try. But I want to talk to you about making a decision. I want to talk to you about making the decision to move ahead. And a lot of people say, well, how do you make a decision? It depends who you talk to. If you talk to Mel Robbins, she'll say something like, does the decision you're about to make expand you? Does it expand your future? Does it expand the possibilities of your life? Now, I actually watched a video from Gary Vaynerchuk where he wasn't cursing. And basically somebody asked him that question, how to make a decision. And he said what I thought was a really good answer. He said, we don't have a time machine. We don't know. We don't have that luxury. There's no future machine. So wherever you are, you make a choice, you live your life. If it works out, good. If it doesn't, you adjust. But I think Larry Wing had the one that was my favorite. Is once you make a decision, he said, don't worry if you made the right decision. Once you've decided, don't worry if you made the right decision, make your decision right. And that all boils down to deciding to go ahead and the magic of making the decision. And I want to share this with you. When I was back here getting my door technician mastery program, one of the manuals had a project in it that said, do a radio interview. This is 3 years ago. This blogging wasn't famous back then. And I didn't know where it was going to come. But I just made the decision that I was going to do it. And guess what? I had an opening. I got an email from somebody. Of course, they were trying to sell me something, but I was able to do an online talk. So now we've decided you've made a decision. I want you to design the good work you're going to put in the world. Again, you might say to me, where do I get the ideas for my presentation? One person said, the mess of your life is the source of the most impactful messages. The mess of your life is the most resourceful thing for your most impactful messaging. You're totally unique, but a lot of us have had the same problems. Now I'm going to tell you something woo-woo. Once upon a time, I was truly stuck. I couldn't get anywhere. And this works for me. I've used it many times, and you might do it too. Rather than sitting there being frustrated, trying to find the answer, I tried everything I could think of, and I put it down, and I walked away from it. A couple times I've just gone out and sat in nature. And a couple times I've just got in another room and sat in the quiet and just counted my breaths, breathing in and breathing out till I was calm. And I said this statement, I've done everything I can. I don't know what else to do. And I asked the question, how can it get any better? And it always did. Little woo-woo for you, but it works. Now I'd like to talk to you about how to structure a presentation. The first thing you need to consider when you're doing your presentation in Doors 11 is you need to consider what problem you are addressing. Unless you're just telling a pretty story, you need to find what problem you're addressing. And then you have to craft an opening that builds curiosity. Now, my opening didn't build a lot of curiosity because you were clueless what I was going to talk about. But a good opening will build a good curiosity. And as we practiced a meeting ago, when we all did call to actions, you guys have really got some great creativity. This is where you hook your audience in. You hook them with this, what is they going to say? What does this mean to me? So you built curiosity. And I have to tell you, there's hundreds of good openings and hundreds of bad openings. I've done some of each. And a good one will keep everybody's attention. If I can highlight the problem, if I can zero in on that problem that my audience is having or that I'm having and you're hearing about, I want to make you feel it inside. I want to make you feel the distress I'm feeling. And then I might talk about one item to address how to address that problem. And then I might give you another item. Now, depending on the length of your speech, I know some people saying in Doors 11, there's a rule you've got to do 3. No, there isn't. Your pastor will do one topic, entire sermon. You need to keep it interesting. If it takes 1, if it takes 2, if it takes 3. But in a shorter speech, I wouldn't go more than 3, maybe 4. In longer speeches, you can go 5 topics. And the very important thing at the end of that is the call to action. What do you want them to do? What I want you to do, what I want you to ask yourself, when you've done your presentation, before you've given it, look at your presentation and say, is there value in this? What is the problem that I'm addressing? Can I get the audience to feel that problem? Does the call to action ease the problem or make it worse? And why should they listen to you anyway? Very interesting things to put together your loving, wonderful message. The final thing is you have to deliver it. And then Thurman said, don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. Howard Thurman. If your message does that, if it resonates with you, it's going to resonate with somebody else. Because you care, somebody else cares. It may not be anybody in this crowd, but I guarantee you, if it strikes you, if you want it, it's wanted. So you want to put your work out there in a loving and expressive manner, and someone will benefit from it. So what we've talked about here is deciding, making the decision, designing your work, and then delivering your work. It's what I like to call mystery to mastery. Because sooner or later, when you're up here deciding what you're going to do, and this is not just in Doors 11, it's in life. You're trying to decide what you're going to do. There's a certain amount of mystery there, a certain amount of mystery that you go, I don't know. But the thing that happens is when you put your stamp and say, I'm going to do that, the doors of the universe open to you. It opens up to you. It's hard to explain how this works, but when you make conscious decision and actually put your name on the calendar and say, I want to do this, the universe will open its doors to you. And at the beginning, when it's all new, you may only know part of the picture. But as you go along and you give your delivery of your work into the world, you're giving your work out into the world, it's benefiting you and it's benefiting the world. And you keep doing that, you go from mystery to management. Now, a lot of people spend a lot of time in management, I'm being one of them, because to get to mastery in your delivery, it really takes a lot of work. I don't know if any of you know who Jack Canfield is. He wrote a lot of the Chicken Soup for the Soul books, but I heard him talk one time. And he said to his mentor, and I think his mentor was John Rohn, and he said to him, I want to be a public speaker. And Jim Rohn said to him, go out and give 200 speeches. He said he gave speeches at every Rotary and Elks and Shriners in the entire state of Florida. I can't tell you when mastery is going to happen. For me, it started to happen when we were in 10 doors and they were talking about going to 11 doors. And I had a limited amount of time. And I was kind of a guide for this new doors. And I said, ooh, I got to do this to get this. So I started doing that. Plus I did two pathways in Doors 11. And I look back on it now, and I did 28 speeches in 1 year, and each one of them was different. And each one of them happened because I put my name and I put my name down before I knew what my speech was going to be. I knew what I wanted to talk about, but I didn't have the speech in my head. You'd be surprised what's going to happen to you when you decide, when you take that step, when you say, I'm going to do it, the doors will open for you. But if you just sit there and watch everybody talk, nothing's going to happen. You're just going to watch a bunch of people talk. I'm not going to say I'm a master. Darren LaCroix, I heard him talk one time, and he was a world champion of public speaking, I think in 2009 or 10. And he talked and he said, I gave the same speech over 700 times. He was in 5 different clubs and had he had hundreds of evaluations. The point of this that I'm getting to is Even his award-winning speech that got him the title of uh, public world champion of public speaking, he said he could have done better. So the biggest problem you have right now is sitting back here at the front saying, I'm going to make something perfect, because nobody's perfect. I can teach you to swim underwater, but I can't teach you to walk on it. There's nobody perfect in this world in 2,000 years, and it's not going to be you. So you got to decide that you're going to go out no matter what. You're going to put your feet on the pavement, and you're going to do it. And sooner or later, you're going to know it's happened. It's happened for you. You can do a lot of things in Doors 11. But the more you do it, the more it will help you, the more it will help the club, the more it will help everybody else that's around you. Because in this environment, we're all here to help each other up, not bring each other down, not ridicule each other. And you'll be amazed how much further you can get when you just go out there and try. And I've had some monumental not greats. I'm not going to say they were failures, because I've had some not greats that I've learned some really great lessons from. Maybe you have too. Maybe you went out there one time and somebody evaluated your presentation and it made you feel like curling up in a ball and maybe going home and saying, I don't need this. But you know, that's what we signed up for, this Doors 11, so that we could go out there and we could do better. And I hate to break it to you, there's no safety corner here. You can do better. And if somebody tells you you need to change, you need to think about it. Keep in mind that the person that's going to give you an evaluation, for example, Ahmad's going to give me an evaluation. I can say, well, that's his opinion. But if enough people tell you something, you may want to consider changing the way you're doing it. The last thing I want to tell you or ask you, when will you make the decision to tie your shoes and walk through the door on a path to a fully expressed you? Toastmaster.